Alright, so I haven't done these lesson videos in a while, but I think a good thing to talk about is when you're playing guitar chords, that you shouldn't just you shouldn't just stick to like one type of chord shape. So what I mean is, like, for example, if you take the G chord, okay? Now we know G chord, this shape down here, the first position, or down here, right? Probably first, second position. But it's good to know different other types of G chord shapes, and I think that way you can be more versatile in your playing. So sometimes I play G chord like this, and then sometimes I would play it like this, or sometimes I even play like this. Now the reason why I do that is because the high string, you get different notes. So you have this note, and then if I play up here, that note, and then you get that note. So if you do like solfege, you'd be like do, mi, so. So there's added benefit to that, because for example, let's say you're playing a band, right, and you have more than one guitar. If the guitars are just down here, there's really no point in really having like more than one guitarist if you're all just gonna play down here. So one person can play down here, another person can play up here, another person maybe up here, but usually here's a good place. And that kind of creates a little more variety. And actually, if you play it in a higher position, you can actually cut through the mix a little bit better, so you can actually get heard a little bit more over. Well, it won't necessarily be like where you're overpowering the person, but it's just like there's that distinction, so you can really hear what you're playing versus when you're both just playing down here. Or the opposite is true. If you're all just playing up high, then you might as well play down low. And another thing that's good for this is that most guitarists, they're just kind of stuck, in one position. It's a really bad habit. So if you know different chords, up and down the fretboard, right, of the same chord, it actually helps you kind of loosen your hand more and really get your hand moving. And that's what you really want. You don't want to be just stuck down here the whole time. So right now I'm just going to kind of go through, start from A to G, like kind of the chord shapes that I do. So for example, A, you have the good old A chord down here. Although we can also do this, where we bar the second fret, get that high note. Or if you want to get the third, this note, what I like to do is I like to do this. So I usually play an A chord like this in the 6th fret. Then I'll add my pinky to that C sharp right there. And then before you even go to the 12th fret, you can do an A chord here. So we have A. So I try to aim for like the chord notes, or the notes in the chord, such as E, A, C sharp, and an octave E. Okay, so if you go to B, I guess it'd be something similar, but B is a little bit harder because everything's kind of barred. So you have B, and you have bar B, and then you can get the D sharp by doing this. From the B bar chord in the 7th fret you do, what you can do is let go of your pinky, alright, and then stretch that, put on the 11th fret, and then what you're going to do with the 3rd finger is you're going to mute the fourth string. So you can use some muting technique, and yeah. So you get a B chord sound with the D sharp. So you have B, and then okay. Now if you go to C, we have just good old C chord, and then here's the high note. Here would be E. Now if you want to play a G and not the high note, all you do is add your pinky. So that's not too hard. And then from G, we'll go to this note C, and to play this C chord here, it's like a G chord shape, right? But it's all the way up on the 7th fret. Okay? And what I do is my first finger, I'll mute the 4th string. So you mute it, you get a C chord. And one final, you can go to the octave E here. So what I can do is kind of do like kind of B bar chord shape, but on the 8th fret. So that's a C, right? Now I'll just stretch my pinky out to the octave, 12th fret. Get the C chord. Alright, let's go to the D chord. We have the good old D chord shape like this. Alright, this high note is an F sharp. Now, the next note for in the D chord is an A, right here. So there's two ways of doing this. What I can do is I can just do like a half bar on the 2nd fret, put my second finger on the 3rd fret 2nd string, and then my pinky, my 4th finger on the 5th fret 1st string. So that's a D chord with the A and the high note. Or another way is doing like this. So I have my first finger on A, and then third finger on 3rd string 7th fret, and the pinky just right below that on the 2nd string. Okay, so now the next note on the D chord is D, is high, octave D. So you can do something like this, where I do this a lot. On the 7th fret, do a half bar, and put your pinky on the 10th fret. Another way of doing that is like just barring the 10th fret, and then putting your second finger on the 3rd string 11th fret. But if you have a guitar like mine with no cutaway, this is harder, so I just tend to do this easier. Okay, now the E chord. The E chord can be kind of tricky actually. It's for example, okay, we have the good old E chord here, right? Alright, now the next note is going to be a G sharp. But the thing is, to get a nice full E chord, it's easier said than done. So what I like to do is this G sharp, I like to put it on the 2nd string, which is going to be here. So if you know an alternate way of playing E, this is like another way. This is like an E power chord kind of shape. So it's on the 7th fret, and the first finger goes on the 5th string. The 3rd finger goes on the 4th string, and then the pinky goes on the 3rd string. Right? So I kind of take this shape, and then what I do is I take my 3rd and 4th finger, and then I'll move it down a string. So now my 3rd finger is on the 3rd string, and then my pinky is on the 2nd string. Okay. Now what I do with my first finger is I leave there on the 7th fret 5th string, but I mute it. I mute the 4th string. So if I play each string at a time, muted 4th string. So this way I can get a, you know, an E chord with a G sharp. So we have this E. Okay. And then this this the next note in the E chord is a B, which is this note right here. Then I'm going to play the octave B right here. So what I do from here is I'm going to slide my pinky all the way up to the 12th fret. Alright. Then I'm going to put my first finger on the 3rd string, 9th fret. Alright, and then I put my 3rd finger on the 11th fret, 5th string. And the reason why I do that is, well, first of all, I get that high note, the B, and I can get a full E chord out of it. Alright, and with my 3rd finger, I mute again the 4th string. So here we go. So let's go from E to here. Okay. Alright, F, we'll skip F. And then let's just, well, actually let's just do F. So we have the good old F bar chord. Now the next note then is going to be this A right here in the 5th fret. So I'll do something like this. So instead of having like an F in the bass note, I'll just leave an open A, because an A is part of the F chord. So what I do is I bar the 5th fret, and then I put my 2nd finger on the 6th fret, and then I put my 3rd finger on the 4th string, 7th fret. So there's it. 4. Okay, and then what if you want to go to the next note, which is going to be here. So all you do is from the chord here, you just put your pinky down, and then you have all 3 notes. Okay. All right. Now the last one is G. So we know the good old G chord. Yeah, we talked about this. And then what I like to do to go to the next string is I just get my 2nd and 4th finger, and I just slide that up to the 7th fret. And then what I do with my 2nd finger is that I'm actually muting the 5th string, and I leave the rest open. That's a G chord with a B in the bass, but it's still a G chord. Now there's several ways to go to the next note, which is a D in the G chord. You can go from here, and what you can do is just put your first finger on the 7th fret, 6th string, right, while muting the 5th string, and then put your pinky on the 10th fret, this D. You can do that, or if you don't want to do it like all strings, what you can do is just so you can bar the 7th fret. Okay, half bar it, half strings, and then put your 2nd finger on the 8th fret, and then put your pinky on the 10th fret. So that kind of acts like a G chord with having a D in the treble, the high note. So I'm gonna kind of review going from A to G, just quickly how I do each chord, right? So here's A. Here's B. Okay. And then here's C. Okay, here's D. And here's E. Okay, here's F. Alright, let's see, where else are we? Let's see, and then here's G.